Welcome to the Panda and History channel. Today is February 19th, 2022. The Beijing Olympic Games is drawing to the end. There are a lot of controversies for 2022 Beijing Olympics. From its beginning, it is officially boycotted by many governments, including US, UK, Canada, and Australia. Among these controversies, one of them has aroused interest by the global medias. The big group of naturalized athletes that compete for Beijing. One of the athletes became the face of the Winter Game and a shiny icon, Eileen Gu, 18, an American born and raised in California. She decided to compete for China, the home country of her mother, Yan. According to the official accounts, her decision to represent the China instead of USA stems from a strong mother-daughter bond. As reported, she's switching smoothly among her three roles in life: a successful student, a model, and a professional skier. She's living a life that only few can dream of, and it certainly humbles us as a normal day-to-day people. In this Winter Olympics, she got the opportunity for 3 gold medals and ended up taking 2 of them and 1 silver in the Olympics. She claimed that she is here to unite people and promote common understanding, create communication and forge friendship. Talking about the nationality problem, according to her own words, "I am a Chinese in China and an American in US." Let's remind her of one thing. The Chinese nationality law is one of the toughest countries around the globe to get a citizenship. According to it, foreign nationals may naturalize if they are permanently residents in any part of China or they have immediate family members who are Chinese citizens. EileenGu is already admitted by Stanford and will soon start her university life, and her mother is sure a US citizen. Otherwise, she would not claim she was only born in China. She would proudly announce she's a Chinese citizen herself. And I doubt, as a Wall Street elite, she would so stupid to keep her Chinese identity, which could put all her assets and life under the whole control of Beijing government. The PRC does not recognize dual nationality and actively discouraged its occurrence in its treaties with Indonesia and Nepal in the 1950s. When the National People's Congress adopted the current nationality law in 1980, a further stipulation was added that automatically revokes nationality from Chinese nationals who settles overseas and voluntarily acquire foreign citizenship. This has been a pain for overseas Chinese, because it will make it really hard to visit China and our families if we accept citizenship for where we live. And I can feel the pain, but the fear of losing the freedom of speech, rights to our own properties, and the freedom of our thoughts outweighs 1,000 times to the inconvenience of dropping Chinese citizenship. Actually, there is not even a concept of citizenship in China. Every Chinese have a unique residence card, and you are not entitled to any of the rights that belongs to a citizen in modern-day civilized democratic countries. Looking at her stunning resume, bilingual, Chinese and English, horseback riding, piano playing, professional skier and a gold medalist, admitted to her dream school Stanford, and let's not forget she has endorsement deals with more than 30 brands and got big-time money. Choosing which country to represent is certainly her own business. Let's not forget one thing. All her endorsement contracts with the biggest brand names will somewhat be associated with her decision to represent China from 2019. When she chose to represent China, she can immediately get flowers, applauses, and big number of business contracts and 1.4 billion fines. Who can resist such temptation? Who indeed is EileenGu? She actually belongs to a small group of global elite. They are not the product of traditional nation, but the product of the economic globalization. Biologically, she is a Chinese-US hybrid. Culturally, she is both East and West. Nationally, she is a free woman and the top 1% that can freely switch their lifestyle and identities in different countries. She certainly cannot represent this lady who also have a belt on her neck. Looking closely, it's not a medal, but a dog train. And this sex slave is not living 100 years ago, nor 70 years ago before the Socialist China was set up. It is right in the 2022, when the China is hosting our second Olympic Games and has the second biggest economy in the world. Look at this lady in the video. She has 8 kids, not knowing who are the fathers of those kids. All her teeth were pulled out because she fought back and bite the people who tries to rape her. There are a lot of unbelievable crime and devil in this story, and it's worth a separate video to talk about. Her story was revealed when the men who bought her chose to use her 8 kids to get donations. Luckily for her, this time, CCP does not choose to delete all the posts for this tragedy, probably underestimate the influence of just one lady. The ugly truth has been revealed little by little by the netizens on the social network, and it has caused a public outcry in the past month and accumulated more and more anger toward this region. Even the party members know that their daughters and sisters can face the same danger. The popularity of posts about her even beat the EileenGu posts to the dust, even as the government is taking down social posts and suppress the spread of the truth. It actually revealed a whole industry of women and children trafficking in China. Every year, the millions of missing women and kids in China, many of them sold to the remote rural area. Because the people in those areas are usually related, those poor women rarely are able to escape their fate. Many tortured to insanity and death. And in this story, the whole county officials involved in this instance of Fang County are sharing the same family surnames and are believed to be from the same family. That's why it's impossible for the lady to escape. Actually, some remote rural areas only exist because of sex trafficking. The local peasants are too poor to have a normal marriage. According to rumors, this lady has been publicly raped. It has been raped by different people and sold multiple times. The local government has already officially published 4 rounds of announcements, and each of them has been discovered to be totally lies and ridiculed. And each has revealed even bigger crime. Now finally, to reduce the impact, the Jiangsu provincial government has taken over the investigation. Let's keep our fingers crossed and hope truth can be revealed. Human trafficking is a known crime. This book gave some details of how severe situations is in China 20 years ago. But there is a reason to believe that things aren't improving, even though China's economy has got much richer. Now let's put them side by side. 2 women, both have trains around the neck and both live in today's world. I like this quote, which is very popular and circles around the Chinese social network in China. The distance of you and Eileen Gu is 1.4 billion chances of choosing which family to be born, but the distance of you and the trained lady with 8 kids is just 1 blow on your head. Eileen Gu certainly cannot represent this lady either, the most popular Chinese tennis player Peng Shuai and former world number 1. In one of her social media Weibo posts on 2nd of November last year, Peng Shuai made accusations of sexual assault against a former senior politician. She alleged she had been coerced into sexual relations with Zhang Gaoli, a former Chinese vice premier. In it, Miss Peng said that originally she hadn't agreed to a sexual relationship with him and kept crying, but eventually she had agreed. People have looked at Miss Peng's timeline and found that 6 more posts had gone, and she herself has not posted on Weibo since 2nd of November, which has naturally caused outside concern about her well-being. While the Me Too movement going around the civilized world, there are still dark corners of the world that this positive influence can't reach. A few days after Miss Peng's original post in November, an online campaign using hashtag Where's Peng Shuai began circulating and started trending on Twitter. In the days and weeks following her original post, she was seen in public on several occasions, with very obvious traces of manipulation and arrangements. One was a video posted on 20th of November, where Miss Peng was having a meal with a restaurant with other people, and went at a sporting event in Shanghai in December, where she was interviewed by a Singaporean Chinese language newspaper. She said then she'd never written that anyone had sexually assaulted her. On 5th February, Miss Peng and the National Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach met for dinner at the Olympic Club in Beijing in an obvious attempt to reduce and contain the negative impact on the Beijing Olympic Games. And during the Winter Olympics, in which she again said she had never stated that anyone sexually assaulted her and that there had been a huge misunderstanding. The WTA said the interviews she has given do not elevate its concerns about her well-being. Eileen Gu once said in Chinese, via interpreter, "I want all the girls to break their boundaries. I want them to think, if Eileen can do it, I can do it." Sorry, that's only her illusion. Neither the ChainedLady with 8 kids nor Peng Shuai can break the boundary within which they're physically and mentally confined. And there are 600 million poor people in China that does not have an average of $150 income monthly. They can't afford the gear and annual tickets for sports like skiing. So Eileen Gu can choose to represent China, but she is not representing the real China, nor does she represent the women in China. She probably serves well as a propaganda facade, and the ChainedLady and Peng Shuai will represent the rotten core. As an 18-year-old high school girl and professional skier, it would be too much to require her to understand the geopolitical conflicts currently going on between China and the US. Her mother is obviously a very clever businesswoman and are controlling her life right now, but she will go to universities and become mature and will likely to have her own views about politics, about the forced labor camps, the terrible human rights conditions in China. The cleverness of benefiting from both countries and be a Chinese while in China and an American in US might become harder and harder to navigate. Actually, there's certainly more than one naturalized athlete in the Beijing Games. Zhu Yi is one of them. She has a similar background as Eileen Gu, but she's not as lucky as Eileen. Zhu Yi is a Chinese female skater who was born in California, USA. She made 2 mistakes and fell during her debut at the Beijing Winter Olympics, which almost prevented the China from qualifying for the figure skating team event. Social media is full of posts with hashtag Zhu Yi fell, Zhu Yi screwed up to express their dissatisfaction. This situation is so serious that the officials must review and remove the tags of keywords. Unexpectedly, Zhu Yi stumbled again in the women's singles free match. At the end, she cried directly on the court. Unsurprisingly, Weibo was full of criticism again, They blame Zhu Yi can't speak Chinese. They blame her does not have the ability to compete in Olympics. But the most widespread is the conspiracy theory of her joining the Chinese Olympic teams because of her father's influence in China. Her father, Zhu Shongcun, is a Chinese computer scientist and applied mathematician known for his work in computer vision, cognitive artificial intelligence, and robotics. He used to be a professor at UCLA and returned to China in 2000s to preside over an AI research institute. Therefore, many Chinese netizens questioned that Zhu Yi was going through the back door and relying on her father to put on the national team's jersey. In addition, Chen Hongyi, a player who Zhu Yi squeezed out, helped China won a seat in the women's skating individual group last year. The pool debut of the Winter Olympics obviously failed to convince Chinese netizens. Zhu Yi seems to have really under tremendous pressure from the social media posts, and which in return impact her performance in the court even more negatively. What people only see is the shiny cover story of Eileen Gu, but they forget to mention the story of the athletes who didn't perform well and are bullied, which is a common norm in China. As the Chinese government so much relied on the winning of the sports court to show their ability, just like what happened with Nazi Germany, this pressure directly weighed on the shoulders of athletes. Even if you have impeccable records in the past, a failure can result in very dire consequences, just like what happened to Liu Xiang, the gold medalist of 110-meter hurdles in 2008. I hope EileenGu can continuously perform well on the course. As a history channel, it's time to look back into history and see what we can learn from it. This is certainly not the first wave of naturalization of Americans returning to China. 70 years ago, even before the Socialist China was established, CCP started to build the network and propaganda to encourage the students around the world to return to China, especially in the US, where 80% of the students are learning natural science and engineering, so that the first wave of Chinese scholars returning to China in the early 50s of last century. According to the statistics, there were more than 1,500 scholars returned to China, and among them, 1,100 were from the US. The CCP famous secret military project, 2 bombs and 1 satellite, relies mostly on the scholars of that wave. Scholars had some relatively peaceful time, and then the 2 political movements came around, directed by Chairman Mao. The first was anti-rightist campaign started in 1957 to 1959, which was a political campaign to purge alleged rightists within the Chinese Communist Party and abroad. The definition of rightist refers to those intellectuals who appear to favor capitalism or were against one-party rule as well as forcible state-run collectivism. Scholars from abroad and especially US become the easy target of the campaign. Many of them persecuted and worked in the labor camps in remote areas such as Gansu and even executed, which is exactly the same as Gulag in Soviet Union. The second wave is the Cultural Revolution from 1966 to 1976, 10 years, which we know was characterized by violence and chaos. It caused even greater damage to the society, and many famous intellectuals were persecuted to death after public humiliation and torture. Among the many who was tortured to death was Zhou Huazheng, who was publicly supportive of Communist Party and was actively involved in the movement to organize Chinese scholars to return to China during his study in University of Chicago. But after the Cultural Revolution started, he was confined to his home, and people are posting if he is a human or the devil. He committed suicide in his building. Another example is Zhou Shaoxian, who obtained Doctor of Telecommunications from the University of Michigan. He was involved in the creation of the first computer in China, but as seen as the spy from US and was tortured to insanity and committed suicide too. How much has changed in CCP after 70 years and 4 decades of economic reform? I'd say very minimum. CCP is still a party of a single-person dictatorship after a brief period of group leadership. I bet that EileenGu probably don't know anything about this history, and even her mother probably forget about it when the awards is so hefty. Let's hope Xi's admiration of Mao's policy will not result in the same disasters once again. I sincerely hope EileenGu can see this video and get some advice from me. Those days are maybe too far away, so let's look at something that is fairly recent, as in 2021. Wang Leehom, the famous singer, songwriter, actor, and producer, who is also an American. He became a superstar in China after year 2000. Born in New York, his first award-winning album, Revolution, was published by Sony Music Entertainment in August 1998, and he became the youngest artist to win Golden Melody Awards and Best Mandarin Male Singer. Wang's next album, The One and Only, in 2001, received phenomenal international success, selling over 1 million units in Asia. His success wasn't limited to music industry. He also starred in a few famous movies such as Lost and Caution, Jackie Chan's Little Big Soldier, and Stan Lee's Annihilator. And his performance in Forever Young won him the Best Actor at the 2018 Golden Lotus Awards. Like EileenGu, Wang is one of the most highly visible celebrities in Asia due to his many product endorsements, including Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Sony Ericsson's, Boston Man, Nikon, Hyundai, and also Wahaha purified drinking water, etc., which he was endorsed since 1999. In December 2021, a divorce announced by him turned into an infidelity scandal, and the heated exchange of him and his wife was trending the top list of the social media. It does not take long that several brands, including Infinity and Chow Tai Sung, terminated their endorsement deal with Wang. Infinity has just signed an endorsement deal with Wang 2 days earlier. Wang Leehom is lucky that all his music and movies are not taken down from network, as many of other celebrities have experienced in similar situations. There are so many celebrities that have their names, movies, or TV series totally removed from the network, so you can't find them. Such as Jackie Chan's song Fang Zuming. He was censored from 2014 due to a marijuana use. He tried to become a director because he has abundant resources from his father, but his movie has been blocked several times and probably will never be released. Even as the son of Jackie Chan, the most common reason for censorship of a male star is usually sex scandal, drug abuse, or prostitution. For a female celebrity is usually tax problems. Lately, CCP had added more categories such as celebrity nationality order. Any celebrities with foreign nationalities will not earn big money in China anymore. This order has made many celebrities abandon their foreign passport. The most popular actress Zhao Wei has been censored all through the network from August 2021. Till this day, people don't know why CCP is doing that. The most popular guess is political conspiracy theory. For EileenGu, if you really want to earn money in China, first you will have to follow their rules, and you will need to repeat their lies and propaganda. And when time comes, really abandon your US passport. Hey, no matter how much you earn, they can take it back easily. And that's lessons learned the hard way. Hu Xijin, the former editor-in-chief of Global Times, a very important CCP publication, recently published an article with the name, "Don't Go Too Far with EileenGu Propaganda." That means even inside the CCP itself, they started to realize the possible future conflict on the nationality. Getting endorsement deal in China is one thing. Dropping US citizenship for a citizenship of the socialist totalitarian country is another. From history, we can't see a happy ending for this honeymoon story. Let's wait and see what's going to happen. If you like this topic, please subscribe and share the Panda and History channel. Thank you very much.